All right. Welcome back to the Outdoor Drive Podcast. This is your boy, East Coast Trev. And
This is Steve.
what is up, Steve? I say that every time.
Yeah, we kind of got a routine there. We need to break the monotony sometime,
Yeah.
but it works.
What do you want me to go like? What's up, asshole?
I don't know, fuckstick. You tell me.
Probably a good idea. No.
Nah, man, not a lot going on here. Just working in prep. As this episode drops, I should actually be out doing last minute things, prepping for you and Andrew to pull into the house so we can kick off the Virginia turkey season.
Yeah, man. Really looking forward to it, man. If the turkeys are doing anything like they're doing here, man, things are definitely getting underway. Seeing a ton of birds, man. Like, been putting some serious miles on the tires only. Checking things out, kind of seeing what's going on. I'm hoping the same's down there.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna get pretty ugly.
purple buds are blooming now, and that's kind of the key. As soon as the purple buds hit, that's when the birds get fired up. That's the old folk legend around here. So I think we're gonna be in great shape.
I'm in for that, man. Like, it's been one of those things. Like, obviously we're a little bit out. We don't start until the 28th, but still driving around and seeing what's going on. It's definitely a great thing. I'm so pumped, man. I picked up a couple new farms. Finally going to have some private land for turkey. It's actually going to be. Actually, I've had it before, but it was bow only. So now I got two farms that are going to be like my personal farms that'll be able to turkey hunt. So when you come up to turkey hunt opening day, it'll be kind of cool, man.
Hell yeah, dude! Looking forward to it.
We have to get through the Virginia trip, though. That is like the start of the year, right? That's like the climax to the season is Virginia turkey season. Like, and
congratulations, you picked the worst fucking hardest place to hunt.
I know, but you know what? It makes you work more hours if I can go there.
ooh, well played, sir.
It puts you in that predicament where, like, you know, you just got to go that much harder, man. Like, we need to capitalize on it, and we need to make it the climax of the season where it is the would epitome be the, like, no, that would be a bad word. I'm not good with words.
No, that's a pretty good word. It'd be the epitome of the season, the apex, the highlight. Right.
We need that, man. That's what we need.
Well, we're kind of amping ourselves up because one, we got last year to build off of,
right?
Which we could have killed birds but didn't for stupid reasons. So this year, we're gonna kill birds regardless,
right?
And the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know, if we miss the shot, cool. I'll show you the bird after we pick it up.
We're just going to do
it. We're bringing a first timer out.
It doesn't matter, man. He's going to get it, dude. I've worked with plenty of first timers.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
And you have too. So
it's going to be extra fun because we're cutting off the limits we gave ourselves last year. We're going to just go and do it. Whatever happens. And in a perfect world, we're going to hopefully sink a hook in someone's mouth and they're going to go down the rabbit hole as well.
That's it, man. We're going to put the needle to the arm. So I'm pumped for it, dude. I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great thing. And it's great to kick off, you know, the second season together and the second hunting season together and just kind of really just dive right in, man. It's really, you know, it's all kind of coming to me now. It's really cool to have this happen. I'm really fucking excited, actually. It's really getting to that point, man. So I'm pumped. I'm definitely pumped. So before we get too deep into this craziness, I just want to reiterate the fact that reiterate. It's late. Sorry. No. The fact of that we have one of the best giveaways you could possibly have in a podcast, social media giveaway. I don't care what it is, man. We are giving away once in a lifetime sea duck hunt. If you guys haven't heard of this or seen this yet, go back on our social media, check it out, how to enter. It's very simple. You buy something from Gator Outdoors, Oyster Game Calls, Wild Edge Inc., Wicked Twisted Bowstrings, Timber Tumblers, Broadside Camo. I forget one. I think it's all.
You're forgetting someone. I'm trying to remember who. Anyway.
I do this all the time. So you buy from any of our sponsors and you get yourself, Ducks in the Bay, but those ones are in a special category. So with those, you get one entry for all of those. And then if you buy from us, which by this time there's new hats out already, I have a couple of stickers, maybe if you're lucky, you get two entries. Or if you go over to ducksonthebay.com and you buy something from him, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, stickers, a hat, you get yourself 2 entries. So it's a win-win, dude. And we're going to run this thing for quite a time. We got a couple of months into this. So go on over there, check it out. It'll also be up on our website, how to get on there and do those things. So I don't want you guys to forget about that. So go on over there and get something from our sponsors to get yourself a free hunt.
You got all that COVID money laying around, put it to good use.
Let's go, man. Season's about to be here, man. Out on the Limb was the other one I forgot.
Yes.
You can go and get yourself your Shikar sticks and get yourself ready for saddle hunting with out on the wild edge. Just, all these things. You guys know what these things are. Just go over there and buy those things, man. It's pretty simple, man. Those guys make it happen for us, and we're trying to give back to them and give to you all at the same time. So make sure you go and check out our sponsors, man. Go check them out. And you can go to theoutdoordrive.com, and on the bottom is all of our sponsors. Click on those links, and you can go and do that. And I will make sure, if I haven't already, I'm going to upload all of the giveaway things and all the promo codes on our website. So, cool. Done.
Nice.
Bam.
Well done.
Yep. And if you guys need turkey calls, because I know turkey season is right around the corner, make sure to go over to Nor'easter Game Calls. And we've also started a little tiny keychain thing for the tools of the trade. Their calls. There is no more outdoor series calls left. Only the thin series, outdoor thin series, is on there in slate. And then there's a bunch of box calls, little cluckers, so on and so forth. So go and check them out too, because I know it's turkey season.
Yeah. And I want to say a big thanks to everybody out there who picked one of these up. We really, really appreciate the support. It goes a long ways. It helps us. It helps Mark. And we really hope you guys enjoy this year's selection of calls, because they took some hours and a lot of time and a lot of back and forth to get to where they were. And I think we got something that you're going to like. So much appreciated for all of you that bought them.
The Ridge Runners over there too. Don't forget about that one. And the thing is, anybody who has bought the outdoor series Nor'easter Game Call, you get yourself an entry to get into this, because we're going to proactive it right back to the beginning of that. How's that? I'm going to give you an entry. So thank you guys for doing that. Thank you for supporting them. Thank you for supporting us. We really freaking appreciate it. And talking about serious support, this next gentleman is very supportive.
Is that what I'm hearing in my ear?
I think so.
Do me a favor and crank that bad boy up.
Hey everyone, Mike here with some news for your cruise. We're going to start this one off with a couple of items in Wyoming. First, where roadkill animals will no longer go to waste after the Senate passed House Bill 95. The bill authorizes people to harvest roadkill animals as long as they obtain a letter of prior authorization from the Wyoming Game and Fish Department and plan to put the animal to beneficial use. The bill went through several drafts, and the final approved bill did remove the proposed $40 fee to obtain the certificate of prior authorization from Wyoming Game and Fish. However, the Senate did add another amendment that will not allow for the donation of any roadkill game meat to nonprofits. A little odd, but it does go along with existing state statute. Some species are excluded from this as well. That includes bighorn sheep, grizzly bears, mountain goats, gray wolves within any area where they are classified as trophy game animals. Species covered under the Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act, federally endangered or threatened species, or species where possession is prohibited by federal or state statute or regulation. The intent is with over 6,000 vehicle and big game collisions per year in the state. The bill would help residents fill their freezers and lessen the amount of wasted meat, which is great. Also out of Wyoming, kind of a PSA for Wyoming shed hunters. That you should be aware of changes to the antler collection regulations for this year on public lands. These were approved back in November of 2020. Antler collection on public lands begins at 6 a.m. on May 1st. This includes wildlife habitat and management areas in the Jackson and Pinedale regions, but does not apply to some WHMAs in other parts of the state. Within the Jackson region, areas include South Park, Horse Creek, Camp Creek, and Grays River. And the Pinedale region, this includes Soda Lake, Luke Lynch, Half Moon, and Full Creek. And this also means that anglers will be able to access Soda Lake for fishing on May 1st at 6 a.m. as well. Shed hunting will also be open on Wyoming state lands at 6 a.m. on May 1st, where antler regulations apply. So, Trev, how about we do something like this in Connecticut? How would you feel about having to wait till May 1st to start looking for bone in the woods? Kind of crazy, but I kind of get it in these areas where you have migrating herds, such as the elk. So, on to Missouri, where the Missouri Conservation Commission has approved Missouri's second annual elk hunting season. Last year, everyone filled the tags that were selected. I reported on that a while back. In general, it'll follow the same process as last year. There will be 5 tags for the state, one of which for a qualified landowner. There'll be a 9-day archery season from October 16th to 24th, a 9-day firearm season from December 11th to 19th, and tags are good for both seasons and are for bull only. Still only open to residents through a random drawing, and the cost is $10 for an application fee and $50 for a permit if you're selected in the drawing. Missouri's Department of Conservation is limiting the applications to 1 person per year, with a 10-year sit-out period for those who draw a tag before they can apply again. The change this year for allotted tags for qualifying landowners is that it will now be, from here on out, 10% of the total tag allotment, as the tag allotments change, with a minimum of 1 tag per year. So good luck to all the applicants in Missouri, and hopefully we'll see this continue for years to come. So now let's head back to New York, where the recently approved 2020 budget has some hunting changes. The budget includes expanding the existing crossbow season and expanding the big game hunting opportunities to 12 and 13-year-olds to encourage and expand outdoor recreation. Previously, junior hunting with firearms was only permissible to 14 and 15-year-olds. And starting June 2021, junior hunters 12 and 13 will be able to hunt bear and deer for big game, along with small game and fowl. This expanded program does have an expiration of December 2023, according to the New York State Legislature, and each county legislature or board of supervisors will vote on the authorization of this new youth hunting age minimum. So there'll probably be more to come on that specifically. If anyone sees anything, please send it along. As always, with any news, feel free to send along to me. It'd be great. Reach out to Mike Salter on Facebook or bearded_bowhunter21 on Instagram. And with that, enjoy the rest of your ride.
Mikey Mike, always killing it, buddy. Thank you, man. We really appreciate you once and always. You are the man. So, and don't forget to send him news, not your nudes. He doesn't want your nudes, bro. Go and give him some news. Tell him what's going on in the world, man. We know there's crazy shit. Just talk to Mike. Mike likes to talk to people, so make sure you send him over something. Talk to him about the things that are going on in the world of the hunting world. So,
oh yeah. Well, we got a pretty good conversation coming up today. I know we brought out some different points and sides and things that he hasn't necessarily had the opportunity to talk about on other shows and previous episodes and things of that nature. So we're excited to bring this one to you guys.
Especially somebody who works as hard as he does, man. The shit that he does, the time he puts in, where he is, man. He's all over the place, always doing something. And he's probably one of my favorites, honestly. Yeah. One of my favorites.
He's someone to look up to, period.
For sure.
Whether it's the industry, whether it's his background, what he's gone through, what he's done, what he's built, anything about it, he's just a good guy to look up to. I mean, no one works more hours.
Nobody works more hours.
So, I don't know about you, but man, I think we ought to just get him on and let him do work.
Let's do it.
All right, let's rock it.
shooter. Big buck. Stag. All right, we're back on the phone with Johnny Utah. What's up, brother?
What's going on, fellas?
Thanks for
Good
joining
catching
us,
up.
man.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I love doing these. I just like talking hunting, you know.
Dude,
I know you just like working more hours, I thought.
That's it.
Yeah.
Every day.
Stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, as far as the podcast game goes, man, you've been crushing it the last few weeks. You've been a busy man.
Yeah. Well, and with my travel schedule, that's what happens. Whenever I'm home, that's when I try to schedule these and bang a bunch of them out. And then, no one wants to do a podcast when they're on the road, from a cell phone.
I hear you.
It never comes in good, especially with audio and everything. It's such a pain in the ass, man.
And the best places that you hunt, usually you try to not have cell phone coverage,
It's so
That's
true.
anywhere I hunt in Virginia.
Right. Yep.
Well, man, why don't we turn this key, get this drive underway? Why don't you tell everyone who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Yeah. So John Mulligan, nickname, I go by Johnny Utah. If you've ever seen the movie Point Break, then you'll get the reference there. But retired police officer, did some undercover narcotic work, former co-owner of Wicked Tree Gear. And now I pay my mortgage from taking photos and my show Arrow Wild TV and Bourbon Barrel game calls.
That's awesome, man. I do want to kind of take it back because you struck that chord that I was going to ask about, man. And I didn't know if you were going to go there or not, but I was going to make it go there.
Yeah.
I want to bring it back a little bit and kind of tell everyone kind of what you did in the narcotics thing as being a cop, because I don't think it's something that's talked about a lot in a lot of podcasts.
No. Yeah. So before I was a police officer, one of my neighbors, he was a Metro narcotics cop in Lexington, Kentucky. And the dude just had baller stories. You know what I mean? And he's like, you never talk about what you do. And I'm like, yeah, because my stuff's boring. You know what I mean? So he had cool stories. And so even when I got into law enforcement, my intent was I wanted to go into narcotics. You can write somebody a ticket and stuff like that. But, if you're putting murderers in prison and drug, hardcore drug dealers in prison, to me, that's actually making a difference. And so that's what I wanted to do. And it was exciting, and so right off the bat, I had just gotten out of the police academy and was still in my field training phase. And I made a traffic stop on a guy. The dude had 312 pounds of weed in the car. He had escaped from Leavenworth prison and just a drug mule. And so right off the bat, the department was like, man, this dude might have a knack for dope, and so an opportunity came open with a multi-jurisdictional drug task force that operated in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati. And that unit worked with, FBI and DEA and ATF. And so I threw my name in the hat and I thought, I'm not going to get it, but at least they'll know I'm interested. Right. And they were like, look, this guy's perfect because he's not from this area. So let's give him a chance, and kind of like some 21 Jump Street stuff, And so anyways, I got in it and loved it. I mean, I could have spent my whole career just doing that, but I was known as Sean Mullins for a little while. That was my name. And man, we put a lot of people in prison. Some people are still there.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's crazy, man. That's so nuts. And then what made you jump into the whole outdoor industry? Where did that whole curve to go to that? Because you're crazy off the wall, full throttle, taking down the craziest people in the world to going and doing this.
Well, and I think that's the ebb and flow of life. Everything that I did was so high speed, and I was also getting to that point where the world was just shit. You know what I mean? And everybody in it was trash. And I had some buddies that were starting to get into hunting, because where I grew up in central Kentucky, there wasn't any whitetails when I was a teenager. So nobody was a hunter because we didn't have them. I mean, we fished, we frog gigged, and we tipped cows over, but that's what you did for fun. You know what I mean? So when I got to Northern Kentucky, they had a good whitetail population, the same as like Western Kentucky. So you get in that Ohio Valley area, and the bucks were nice. So a buddy of mine said, "Hey, let's do it." And I'm like, I jumped at it because for me, it was something to do in the woods. Drug dealers weren't going to be out there. Mm-hmm. I could do it by myself. And it was a way to kind of reconnect with, not to sound cheesy, but like reconnect with nature and get out of the concrete jungle. You know what I mean? So that's what I picked it up. And then that's kind of what started into the bow hunting. And again, it was just more of an outlet for me. And I ended up at the Ohio Deer and Turkey Expo in Columbus, Ohio, outside of Columbus there. And I ended up at that show one year with a buddy, and we were walking around, and I came across this quirky dude named Todd Prignitz, and he was peddling white knuckle production DVDs. And I picked up one of his DVDs, and I'm like, this is dope. You know what I mean? Like, the dude's telling the story of hunting, not just the kill of hunting. And he just passed a 170-inch buck. Like, who does that, right? So him and I became buddies. We hit it off. And then, like I said, we co-owned Wicked Tree Gear together. And then I ended up coming on board back in 2013 with White Knuckle Productions. That was my first hunt that was filmed with those guys. So that kind of gave me the start into networking with the partnerships and, coordinating the show layout. And even the Wicked Tree Gear process taught me a lot about the industry from that side. So I got to see the industry from both sides of the fence, which I think gave me a huge kickstart and allowed me to learn so much more about this space and how you're supposed to operate in it and how important those friendships are and the relationships and doing the right thing. Because like a lot of guys, they look at the outdoor industry from the outside and they're like, dude, it's huge. No, it's small. Like, it's super small. Like, people have no idea actually how small it really is.
And everybody knows everybody. Like,
everybody
everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's got dirt on everybody. I mean, it's one of those industries. Like, you got to keep your nose clean.
Some more than others. No.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's those speeding tickets out there. You know what I mean? You got to be careful for those. But there's things that people have done, and some people do it the right way. They get jammed up in some stuff, but they get in front of it, and they fall on the sword, and life is good. And then there's the other people that choose to go about things differently, and they
live second lives.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it's sketchy out there. It's tough. Yeah.
It's like being in the concrete jungle all over.
It is. A lot of it is, man. I'm like, wait, I got out of this job. You know what I mean? I'm right back in it. It's just a new drug. You know what I mean?
You're just like the undercover guy running through the ATA. Like, oh, who's who?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because even after when I got out of policing and I got to doing this stuff, there were people that thought, is he still undercover? And I'm like, who am I snitching on? You know what I mean? Like,
what's there to narc on?
Yeah. I just saw so-and-so shooting a Matthews, but he's sponsored by Elite. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not snitching on nobody. I'm not a cop anymore,
I'm just here living my life.
That's it. Yeah. I was like, I'm done with that. I'm trying to, and that was the other thing with bow hunting is I associated a gun with the badge. Now I have been a strictly bow hunter for 12 years, 13 years, something like that. But when I got out of policing, it was like a further reminder. I don't want to do any gun hunting. I don't have anything against guns. It's just the guns remind me of my old career. And now I've been separated for about 5 years from guns. And I start remembering like, man, I kind of miss doing like speed drills. You know what I mean? And I miss that training. So recently I was able to hook up with Kip Campbell at Red Arrow Weapons and signed a deal with Kip. And I've got a hog hunt coming up in a couple weeks and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to be fun to run some drills with the AR again,
Oh yeah.
It's going to be like riding a bike, dude. You're going to be doing tuck and rolls.
Yeah. My buddy's gonna be like, dude, they're just hogs. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Watch your six. You know what I mean?
The PTSD is going to kick in.
Yeah.
And
I'm breaching the door. He's like, there's no door. We're in the middle of the woods. I'm like, careful, flashbang. So,
nothing wrong with that.
Running
Man.
king drills on pigs.
you're right.
Live fire.
He's gonna shit when I start dropping Kim lights, But yeah, it'll be fun.
That's awesome, man.
Yep.
So how's your turkey season going, man?
Going good. I set the goal to try to get another Grand Slam, single season Grand Slam again, and went down to Florida, same as I did last year, actually on a photo shoot, but I brought my bow and camo and take a few photos, and everybody's like, "Where's John?" And I'm like, you know what I mean? I dip off into the timber and went and reaped one down there. So I got the Osceola out of the way. And so now I'm in a little bit of a downtime, but getting ready to head to South Dakota next week and start chasing the Merriam out there and go for bird number 2 and then Texas bird number 3 and then come back to Iowa for bird 4.
So nice. Was it a little bit tougher to get your Osceola the second time? Because the last time you got it in your first day, right? Yeah.
This one I got on the second day. The weather was horrible. So, most Easterns and Merriams and Rios, in my opinion, they don't react to the weather changes as much. And Osceola, it dropped to 50 degrees, and those birds, they shut up. They don't gobble. They don't do nothing. They stay on roost till 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it was super weird. So the first day that I snuck out, it was 51 degrees. It was raining and it was windy. I mean, any turkey hunter knows that's an appetite for disaster. Nothing's going to happen. So it sucked. And I was kind of worried because I only had 2 days to hunt there.
Right.
So I was like, oh crap. Now it's the last day, which for me was a Monday. And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be tough. Like, John, why do you do this to yourself? And then I start thinking, I get in my own head and I'm going, well, if I don't get the Osceola, that's it. There is no Grand Slam. Like right out of the gate, it's over. So I'm like, shit. But I was lucky to get it. I had a couple of buddies of mine down there, a couple of the guides that were there. They actually went out with me. And we found a farm that we had access to. We spotted the birds. We snuck out there with some reaping fans, and it was a total team effort. I mean, it was like, okay, you flank this way, you present the fan over here. I'm going to lay back, and we just coordinated it. And then I shot the bird, and everybody just kind of looked at each other. And I said, that shit should have never happened, like ever in a million years. We could never make that happen the way that it happened. So I got lucky, I really did.
That's awesome. And yep. So what's your next attack on the next bird? So like
South Dakota, back to the Black Hills. And that was a 1-day hunt last year. So, I hope those birds are still roosting in the same area because I don't have any other intel.
Nothing like that. Jump on site and find a bird.
Yeah. So that's what my buddy asked me. He says, where are you going to, whenever you go to South Dakota, like in the Black Hills, where are you going? I'm like, well, I'm going back to the same place I dropped a pin where I shot the bird last year. And if they're not there, then I guess I'm hiking,
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to find them. So we'll see. But hopefully they're still in that general vicinity and I can get on them and get on them quick and get down to Texas.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy.
And what made you on that?
Yeah.
The Black Hills are not an easy place to just go trek through.
No, it's not. But man, it's so cool. So much history there with all the monuments and Mount Rushmore and Deadwood and, Crazy Horse and all that stuff. It's just a cool area.
Which one do you think is probably the easier of them to hunt?
So by default, I would say Easterns, but that's just because I know where all my Easterns are on all the farms that I hunt. Now, in general, in my opinion, I think the Eastern turkey is the hardest bird to kill. And I don't know if it's just because they get hunted so hard and they've just adapted, they've become a little smarter. I mean, they have a brain the size of my pinky nail, but smaller than that, but they're the dumbest smart bird ever. But Miriams get talked around of being the easiest bird to kill. And I think a lot of that has to do with just the numbers, because it seems like when you get into them, you get into a lot of them. So there's that. Osceolas for me are tough because of the geographical location. There's only one place you can go and kill them, right? You got to go to Florida, and the landowners have gotten really hip to the game, and they know that. So, if you see one like on the side that you're driving down the road and you see an Osceola strutting out in this farmer's field, and you knock on the door, 9 times out of 10, he's going to tell you, yeah, I don't care if you go kill him. It's $500.
Yep. They know the value.
Oh.
Yep. They know the value, and the outfitters have jumped in on it. You know what I mean? The outfitters have jumped in and gobbled up so much ground. So, yep.
That's cheating. That's not even fair.
I know.
What would you do, Trev, if all of your old ladies with the bird feeder started charging you?
I'd be pissed. How would I kill turkeys?
Oh, that would be.
And that is a strategy, because a lot of people do feed turkeys. So if you can get close to a piece of private, that feeds turkeys, where they're going to be. You can whitetail hunt them,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times when I'm hunting them, I mean, up here, it's more of an urban area, right? So we just literally, I do a lot of road hunting, and I just find some old lady that's feeding them underneath the bird feeder, and the hens are there. And you just try and either cut them off in the morning before the toms go down to the hens, or you just wait for them to get there and try and call them back into public land. But it is what it is. You call it cheating, call it whatever you want. I mean,
it's fair game.
It's fair game.
Yeah.
It's legal.
I call it being observant to your surroundings and capitalize on it.
Adaptation.
Yep, for sure.
So what made you want to do a slam again? Sorry, Steve.
No, you're good, brother.
For a lot of the same reasons that I got into turkey hunting was there wasn't anything else going on after shed season. And it was like, all right, well, let's try this turkey hunting thing. And then after the first year, I'm like, this turkey hunting thing's kind of fun. I like it. The big motivation for doing it last year was bourbon barrel calls. I wanted to create a lot of content. I wanted to be out there, and I kind of needed to set a goal for myself to push myself to try some different states. But again, what people didn't know is I hadn't released the aluminum, the slate, and the copper call yet. So that's the calls that I took with me to prototype and test. And make a few tweaks and changes along the way. Once I knew that I could kill birds with all my calls, then I felt comfortable selling them, right? And so that was kind of the main reason why I wanted to do it last year. And after I got it done, I immediately was like, okay, never doing that again. That was a one and done. You know what I mean?
Wrong.
I'm the John Calipari, UK basketball program, one and done. That's it. But then I had one person said, you got lucky. I bet you can't do it twice. And I was like, man, why are you going to call me out like that? You know what I mean? So I was like, well, screw it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm only going to be, I may not be able to do this kind of stuff forever. Right. So I was like, screw it, man. I had a lot of fun doing it. Let's try to do it again.
Right. And one piece that I want to jump back to is last year was a unique year on top of it, dealing with COVID, losing some of your ability to bounce around and go to where you wanted to go.
Yeah.
What's your feeling and situation this year, not having that same pressure?
I'm still going to go back to all the same areas that I did last year. I'm still bypassing Nebraska and Kansas and stuff, and nothing against people that go to Nebraska to kill their birds, to kill a Miriam or a Rio or something like that. Because you could get both species in the same state, right?
Right.
If you talk to the purist, the turkey purist will say it's not a real Rio and it's not a real Miriam.
It's a crossbreed.
Yep. So they say it's a hybrid. By default, I was going to go to Nebraska last year, but because of the pandemic shit, then I didn't get to go there. And it forced me to go for a real Miriam and a real Rio. So it kind of, the way it worked out, I got to pound my chest a little bit harder, right? But yeah, I'm going to go back to the same spots. Like I said, I love South Dakota. And I've got a good buddy of mine, my buddy Ward. He owns a company called Musket Powder. It's a seasoning company, and he's one of my best friends, and he lives outside of Fort Worth, and he's got a big ranch, and he's got a lot of hogs, and he's got some turkeys, and it's just good to go hang out with him, for a week and go shoot stuff, whether it's a bow or a gun. So I'm like, screw it, let's go back to Texas.
Hell yeah, can't blame that.
Now, I don't know where I'm going to do my Eastern at, if I'm going to do it here in Iowa or in Kentucky. So I've got a photo project down in Kentucky during their opening weekend of their Eastern, season. So, I usually don't travel without a bow. So I might.
Smart man.
Yeah. So I might just, while I'm down there, like, screw it. Let me get a non-resident tag and let's do one of those.
Well, hey, if you can check the box while you're there, you're good. If not, you always got home to fall back on.
Yep. Last year, I wanted to do it in order and finish it off, in my home state. That's not really a big thing for me this year. It's just more of just getting it done this year. You know what I mean? And, hey, if I shoot one in Kentucky, it's not like that wasn't one of my home states, at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it'd still be point of origin.
Yeah, it'd still be cool.
Well,
I definitely want to bring it. Oop, go ahead, Steven.
You're good.
I'm not going to do it again. Nope.
You're good. One downfall to Zoom.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, going back, just a quick touch on last year.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did you get the slam, you did it in an unplanned manner. It was all haywire and last minute.
Yeah.
But you were one of how many people that pulled that off last year?
One.
Exactly.
Yep.
The one.
Nobody else did it. You were the one and only that ever got a slam last year in 2000.
Yep. According to NWTF, I was the only person to register a single season Grand Slam in 2020. And according to them, I will be the only person to do it with a bow back-to-back years.
Yep. So when you said pound your chest, I'm going, okay, you made the purists happy, but let's get down to the real tax matter here.
Yeah.
You were the only one to do it, period.
Whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's pretty bad.
That was cool. Yeah, that was neat. And actually, ironically.
Oh, shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they actually just sent me all of my pins and stuff like that. So yeah, which I get those all framed up and at some point here. And my taxidermist is he's working on the mounts. He's got the Osceolas done. It's drying, so he's getting ready to start on. I guess he'll start on the Rio next. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped up to get all four of those birds. We're doing like a dead hanging pose. So they'll all be like hanging from a piece of wood, like on the wall, and just like they're all hanging by their feet.
See, now I always said if I was going to do it and could get the slam all in 1 year, I would actually do a floor pedestal mount in the same shape as NWTF.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's super cool.
But
yeah, I've seen some of those where it's they do it like they do all four birds like in a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. My wife would kill me if I take up any more floor space right now. So everything's got to go on the wall.
I hear you there, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good.
What does it take to register? Because do you send in pictures or how do you go about doing that if somebody was going to do that?
I think it is.
Well, you just did 4 of them. You shouldn't have to think about it.
You're doing it again.
I'm trying to remember. I have the sheet right here.
Do you have to send in pictures and all that?
You have to measure them, and you have to have a witness, and to verify, you have to include all of your tag numbers, DNR, confirmation numbers, and all that stuff. But they want weight, beard length, spurs. You have to list the county and the state, the date and time, the weapon, and I want to say it's $15 or $20 a bird. But you also have to be an NWTF member as well.
Right.
And I think that's like $60. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad. Well, I was already an NWTF member, but I think it's like $60 or $65 to register the birds.
Nice. That ain't bad at all.
No. It's cool to make a donation, you know?
Yeah, it's like entering a Pope and Young or a Boone and Crockett. You got to do the same exact thing. So
yeah.
Doesn't make no difference. We do that for conservation every year anyway. So
exactly. Yep.
Doesn't make no difference, man.
Yep.
But you just had something released also that was kind of cool. I thought was pretty badass was the knock on calls, which is pretty cool for Bourbon Barrel. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge step in 1 year's time of kind of. Yeah. Why don't you go into that, man? What Bourbon Barrel calls are? Kind of spit that for a little bit.
Yeah. So it was, coming from Kentucky, I wanted to come up with something that paid a little roots, homage, back to the hometown and stomping grounds. I like bourbon. So, and a lot of people don't know this. My degree is actually in horticulture. So, I love the fact of making something reclaimed out of wood versus cutting down a green tree. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there was just a lot of cool things that came into it. And so I started this company, Bourbon Barrel Calls. And I thought, you know what, man, if I sell 50 or 60 calls as like a hobby call maker, it offsets some tag costs and it's fun and stuff like that. But anybody that knows me knows that I don't do anything half-assed. And if I do it, I'm in it to win it. And I want to divide and conquer. And I'm really competitive. So we ended up finishing last year at around 500 calls for the year. And then we've already passed that in 3 months this year. So
nice. Congratulations,
bro. That's huge.
It's exploded. And I sent John Dudley a call. John and I have met before in groups of people, and we had mutual friends. But a mutual friend of ours, John Barklow, who's a product designer, equipment designer at Sitka, him and Dudley are super tight. And so he kind of brokered the collaboration, mash up between us. And I sent him a call and he picked up the phone and called me direct and was like, bro, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I want to make a knock-on version. So we put our heads together and we collaborated on some design features and how we wanted to do it. And we really made a custom piece that was straight for knock-on archery. And even on the outside of the box, we even redesigned the logo and incorporated some stuff for him on a 10 box and ended up with a really sweet piece. And he bought, I think he bought 110 of those or 106 of those and sold out in 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
The knock-on nation is strong.
It's like a cult. And I say that in a nice way. He's got a cult following. So the guy is super intense, especially when it comes to arrow flight. Holy crap, is he intense. But super smart guy. You can always tell the wheels are turning. And that was just it was a cool collaboration to do. And it was good for Bourbon Barrel Calls too, because it tapped into his audience, and so it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man! Congratulations on that. That's huge. Thanks. Man, especially in a year's time and pushing out that many calls, dude. That's huge, and I think they're awesome. I think it's totally something different, and definitely capitalize on something awesome. So, especially coming from Kentucky of all places.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it has been super cool, and there's some other new things that are in the works right now that it's gonna be another cool little byproduct of Bourbon Barrel Calls, and it should be set to launch this summer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I have to ask.
Keep our eyes out for that.
With Dudley being a former Hoyt guy.
Yeah. It was a little awkward.
You being a Hoyt guy. How did that go over?
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
To sell you.
No, he and I was surprised. I thought whenever because I went to his office and we hung out, we recorded a podcast and stuff, spent the day together, and I thought he was going to try to get me to switch over, to PSE. he's doing some really awesome things with PSE and made a lot of improvements to their, to their system, their program. And he didn't try to convert me at all. But it was funny because even when he said, he's like, wait a second, you're shooting Hoyt now? Okay, so over here is where we do our logistics area. And it was just kind of, he shot right past it, man.
Well, I know he did a really good job at the separation when he transitioned. He kept the relationships. There was no animosity, no bad blood. It was just a business decision.
Yep, very much so. And he's, obviously he still has a lot of partnerships with Easton and stuff like that. Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Well, switching gears on you, and we're going to go from land to sea. Yeah. You got to come up to my neck of the woods and do a little bit of real fun up there on the Potomac.
I did. Nice play on words, some real fun. I went and did a photo shoot. Growing up in Kentucky, it was all bluegill and farm pond catfish. I caught a 3-pounder and I thought I was kicking ass, and then I went and did a photo shoot for a client of mine that's in Mechanicsburg, Harrisburg area. But we went down to Alabama, did the shoot down there, and they let me cast a few times, and I actually caught a fish, and I ended up catching it was a 41-pound blue. And I thought, man, that's a whole lot bigger than those farm pond catfish I used to, and I was like, damn, that's kind of neat. But that was kind of the end of it. It was just a cool thing to do. And I thought it was a one-time gig. Then I ended up getting a call from Sea Arc Boats, and I did the photo shoot, the catalog for all of the new Sea Arc boats that are coming out. Then I get a call from Cat River Anchors. Then I get a call from the Cat Masters Tournament Series. And so now I'm the resident photographer, for the Cat Masters tournaments. So now I've been going to all these tournaments and I'm taking photos of all these dudes pulling these giant catfish out of their live wells. And, you start getting the bug, right? You start seeing it. And I'm like, damn, I want to do that. So I was talking to my friends, Leslie and Troy, and they run a nonprofit called Heroes Outdoor Therapy. And I was talking to them and I said, how cool would it be if this bow hunter guy goes catfishing? And they were like, oh, you should totally do it. And I'm like, no, I'm just kind of joking. I'm just, haha. And they're like, no, maybe you should. And I thought, you know what? That is so different than anything that I've ever put out there. Hell, let's see how it goes. Well, one thing led to another. People in the catfishing community heard that I was thinking about doing this episode. Next thing I know, Catch the Fever Rods is reaching out. Livingston Lure is reaching out. Cast King and Tackle Bandit and Nocturnal Nation Hooks. And I'm like, God damn, I wish the hunting industry was like this.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's a niche industry.
Yep.
They'll support it.
Yeah. And so we put the plan together, and I took all of my hunting stuff to go to Florida. I actually flew into Harrisburg first. And then we jumped on the Potomac and we jumped around. I think it's called Three Sisters in that area by Georgetown College.
Yep.
And that was kind of our hot spot, but we jumped out there on the water and I said, hey guys, this is a total experimental thing for me. I'm not throwing a bunch of money at it because, everything that I do has to stand on its own 2 feet, but I am willing to throw a couple of grand at this and see if it works out. And I allowed us 2 days of filming. And in 4 hours, I couldn't lift my left arm. I was like, I'm done. I got enough content. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a blast, got a new personal best, ended up catching almost close to 53-pound blue and a bunch of 40s. I mean, I think I broke my personal best 7 times that day, but topped out at almost 53 pounds. And yeah, we had an absolute blast, and the episode's doing well. I did a second follow-up episode, which is just a gear dump episode.
Right.
And that one's actually doing better than the fishing episode.
Well, you know why, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because especially like me, I'm the same way, and I have a question I'm going to get to in a second. Yep. Is you guys did so well. Granted, you're on one of the best rivers for blues there is. They're in the James. You're not going to get better blues.
Yep.
And anyone who disagrees can kiss my ass. But you did some things in there different with your rig that had, it piqued my interest, because everything I did is about the same with exception to one big thing.
Yeah.
And that was using the Livingston Lure as your float.
Yep. Kind of a Carolina rig. And definitely doing something a little bit different there. That was a big secret that Troy and Leslie had taught me. And I got to see it in action last summer down on Lake Wheeler in Alabama, and giant blues down there. Anything that feeds off the Tennessee River in Alabama is hot. But I got to see that setup then. So we used it, in D.C., and it was about 85 to 15, 80-20, because I had some of my poles rigged up without it and some with it. Gotcha. But it was definitely 80-20 we're hitting on the Livingston. So that was kind of letting the cat out of the bag. That was kind of a secret that Leslie and Troy
you just fired a lot of people up by doing that. That's all I'm saying. I'm picking a few up. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And so that was pretty funny. And I told him, I said, how come you guys have never put out this information? And they were like, we thought about keeping that secret, but we kind of wanted to throw you a bone. And it now, after the fact, I'm actually realizing how big of a secret it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So I had a buddy today, he lives in Kansas. He just sent me a picture of, he picked up 2 of the Walking Boss Tournament Series lures from Livingston. He sent me a picture of it, and he's like, this shit better work.
Well, I've heard people using rattle traps and a couple other things similar.
Yeah, like the Demon Dragon and stuff like that. Yep.
But the way, you're literally 2 birds with 1 stone with the Livingston.
Yeah. You get that the audible deal as well, and using it as a float. And like I said, I just tell everybody, just keep it within about 6 to 8 inches of your hook. Yep. Because they might go after the Livingston.
Now, real quick for everyone listening that's not watching the video side, explain what a Livingston is.
Yep. So a Livingston lure is similar to like any other kind of crankbaits or, lures like that. The Livingston, when they send it, it's got 3 eyelets, and you're going to have treble hooks on all 3. You just pop off those treble hooks, and you're running your leader through the eyelets. That completes the circuit. And once you complete the circuit like that, it runs a series. It runs a sequence of sounds. And the ones I like to use, like the Pro Sizzle or the Walking Boss, they put off a shad sound. So if you don't know what a shad sounds like, it's almost like a rattle, like a rattlesnake. It just kind of sound. Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Yeah. And once it gets in the water, that's what it sounds like. And man, those big cats, man, they can't resist it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's kind of, you're like I said, you're using it as a float. I think we were using like 12 ounce. I had like 1 12-ounce coin sinker that I was running out there. Water was running pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
When we were there. So, and we were running some, skipjack or some sucker fish or whatever bait, we had on there. But, you got bait and you got that audible sound with the Livingston lures. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, you find a good seam there off a ledge and you get right in that feeding area. Yeah, they can't stand it. They have to come check it out.
Yeah. You guys did a really good job on the video walking, like you were saying, right there on that ledge.
Yep.
And how to play that. I know a lot of folks, especially down here, that, they're bank fishing and things, they can't be real selective. Right. But if you have that general idea of where those holes are and you add that sound into the matter, like you said, it's no longer just a scent drift.
Yeah.
Pulling from 360.
Exactly. And I think like Leslie, I think initially she thought I was just kind of being silly when I talk about, I was trying to explain to people watching the video when I made the correlation between the bedding area and the feeding areas and stuff like that.
I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah. But it makes sense because and I'm a bow hunter. I don't know shit about fish. I'm learning about fish, but compared to what I know about deer, I'm an extreme novice. So I kind of wanted to make it an analogy so people would understand why we were using the Livingston, why we were hitting those seams the way we were. And you'd find it, if we'd park on a seam, depending on what direction that it would fall, either the right side reels were getting hammered or the left side reels were getting hammered,
Yep.
So it just all depends on where you were.
Now, I did want to ask real quick, did you have any lines tangle on you?
Yeah.
Because you guys had quite a few lines out there.
Yeah. I had one really good bird's nest myself on casting, and that's the first time I had used the slime line, which is tough as nails, but man, that stuff's elastic almost,
Yeah.
So I screwed up one time on it. I kind of fat thumbed and didn't get my thumb, on the line. I thought I was on the line, but I wasn't because I had gloves on. That was just my mistake. I mean, it happens to all of us, right? But
yeah.
And then I did have one good tangle one time. I had one of those blues, man. He hit on the right side, and you know how you do
you try to cross your poles.
Yep.
And we ended up going from the far right to the far left. So we crossed 7 poles before I got him in the water. Yeah, I was like, you ass, you're a dick. You know what I mean?
If you're going to catch me, you're going to work for it.
Yeah, we did. And he wasn't even that big. I mean, he was like one of the 30 pounders, you know what I mean? But I had a few tangles here and there. And that was something new for me, just learning that process and trying to, guide them in the right way. And plus we had some drift socks and trying to avoid all that kind of stuff. And so it was a learning curve for me, and I asked Troy and Leslie, I said, hey, how bad was it? And they're like, obviously you're new to rod and reel fishing like that in that style, but your other experiences in life, it was actually impressive. Like you climbed the learning curve pretty damn fast.
Oh yeah.
And I attribute a lot of that to just being at the Cat Masters tournaments and listening to those anglers that follow that deal. And hey, I'll be honest, I'll say it full disclosure. When I went to the first Cat Masters tournament, I'm like, catfishing, come on. They ain't Kevin Van Dam. You know what I mean? Like, these ain't bass guys, And I was like, these guys out here running those bank poles and you know what I mean? Dude, those guys know what's up. Those are some of the best anglers that I've been around. Those guys are sharp, really sharp.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So I was impressed. Have a lot of respect for those guys. And, the bass world, let's face it, in every industry, there's nice guys, there's assholes, Bass fishing to me is almost like the Formula One. Dude, I'm NASCAR. You know what I mean? So
Right.
The catfish community, they've been such awesome people. They've been really, really nice. And there's some really good dudes in it and good girls, equally.
It's crazy because the fishing industry has its own little pockets of itself. So and those guys are just like the bass fishermen. Like you, when you're growing up, who did you look up to? Bill Dance, Jimmy Houston, so on and so forth. Do you think bass fishing is the greatest thing now? In the modern bass fishing, you're like, get out of here.
Yeah.
It's like you said, Formula One, and you start to get down to the nitty gritty of some of the cat fishermen. And for me, it's saltwater. So there's like, it's a totally different world, man. And listening to you, I don't really know much about catfishing, but listening to it, it's like, it's pretty badass.
All right,
It's definitely
we're going to drag Trev on the Shenandoah when he gets down here for turkey season.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Get a little taste of it.
No, it's definitely cool. And going back on that, like you were saying with the lures and stuff and the sounds, that follows along with a lot of different fishing species. So like for us, like striped bass fishing, we use this big they're like big rattles, and it's the same thing, and they go on there and it sounds like a lobster. So when that lure's moving or the bait's moving, it sounds like a lobster, and it just kind of like keys that bait. So it's kind of cool to hear it, that it goes into catfishing also, and that people use it for different fishing series. So.
Yeah. And they're so sensory, as it is. So I think it's like throwing a snort wheeze or throwing a grunt, at a big buck that's pissed off. You know what I mean? Sometimes it'll tip them over the edge. But yeah, it's fun, man. And even like say a company like Catch the Fever Rods, they came on board and and they sent me 2 of their rods that aren't even out yet. I'm the only person in the United States that has these rods.
Wow.
And I'm not a catfishing pro angler, you know what I mean?
Right.
But he was like, what the hell? You know?
Are you going to take to it? You think you're going to do a lot more of it now?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So as
Another
a
bad
joke,
habit.
Oh yeah. Well, and it fits perfectly because the majority of those big blues, that's like December to March.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I'm doing is trade shows at that point. So it's like, well, hopefully we get back to trade shows.
Right.
But yeah, and then in the summer, it's just kind of food plots, trail cameras, you know what I mean? Things are kind of calm for me. Hit a couple of total archery challenges, but yeah, go out fishing at night for some big flatheads. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all about it. So there will definitely be a lot more catfishing. But after I caught that 52 pounder,
you're done.
I was scheduled, because the way my schedule went was the Potomac, Florida, and then Alabama for the Cat Masters Classic. And so I caught that 53 pounder. And I had just released him back in the water, and I grabbed my phone, and Leslie's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm calling Brian. So Brian St. Ama is the owner, director of the Cat Masters tournament. And I said, I get his voicemail. I'm like, hey, Brian, it's Mulligan. Man, I got bad news. I'm not going to be able to take photos of the tournament next week, but I'll still be there. I'm entering a boat. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to get that bag. I'm going to get in your pocketbook a little bit. So yeah, he thought it was pretty funny. Look, I don't have any delusions of grandeur. I know I've got a lot to learn in it. But man, I'm having a lot of fun learning. It's cool.
Oh yeah.
You think that you'll take it to other species of fishing, or are you just going to stay with the catfishing world?
Well, I picked up fly fishing 2 years ago, and I've been doing that a lot. I've been out west. I've fished the Gallatin. I fished, Idaho and whatnot. And then I fished some local stuff in Iowa, and we've got some pretty good trout streams up in Northeast Iowa. So, yeah, I might limit it to catfish and bluegill, catfish and trout.
I was going to say catfish and bluegill. You really set your bar high.
Yeah. My boys, they like catching some bluegill. We've got a pond here close to the house that I hook up with the local DNR, and he's got permission to hunt this farm pond here. And so anyways, he's got a young boy and I've got my young boys. So, yeah, we'll probably do some of that this summer, but I just like to get their hands dirty and have to bait their own hooks and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
bring it back to the nitty gritty, man. That's where it all starts for the little ones.
That's right. So yeah, they enjoy the heck out of that. So yeah, I think I'll definitely be doing more of it.
We'll see if you time it right and you come out and you hit the Harrisburg show next year if it's open.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
You're already there.
Right.
So, it's just one.
That'd be the way to go.
To drag your ass up here to that show too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I love that show. Man, it can be a real bear to work it.
Oh yeah.
9 days. But no, I like the area, and that's actually something Leslie and Troy and we talked about is next year I actually might do a bourbon barrel booth / Arrow Wild booth. And then while I'm there, then just close down shop after the show and then just fish for 2 or 3 days on either hit the Susquehanna or hit the Potomac or something like that.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That'll be a good time, man. Oh, I was trying to open the door if you wanted to come up saltwater fishing that, not that far away.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's all fun for me. Well, even like striper fishing, I've got 2 brand new striper stealth rods over here that catch the fever scent. So I'm like, never caught one of those, but I've got $300 in rods over here.
Bring it up. We'll break 40. We'll break 53 pounds for you. No.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I've got a video project coming up with them towards the end of May, and we're going to hit like the Chesapeake area and do stuff out there. Yep.
So you keep referring back to like video projects and so on and so forth. Why don't you tell everybody kind of what you're talking about, like what you do, because that's like your whole realm of.
Yeah. So so obviously Bourbon Barrel Calls, that's one of my companies that I own and operate. Arrow Wild TV is any traditional hunting show. I work with partnerships and provide photography and produce, hunting content. And then my third company is Johnny Utah Creative. And Johnny Utah Creative was set up as the parent company a couple years ago, and it provides freelance photography work, freelance videography, commercial work, product design, and marketing design and consultation. So I've got some clients that pay a retainer every month, and I advise them on their marketing. I have some companies that I do design changes to. Hey, put a zipper here, put a pocket here, change the color to this. So in the catfishing world, and that's where a lot of this catfishing stuff came from, is the Johnny Utah Creative side. And like right now, I've got a bid to do for 717 Armory in Harrisburg or Mechanicsburg. Are they Harrisburg or Mechanicsburg?
It's kind of in between.
Yeah, right there on the line.
I would say they're closer to Mechanicsburg, but that's neither here nor there.
So I've got a video project coming up with Patrick over there. I've got a Nocturnal Nation hook video project to do coming up. They're in Indiana. So in between my hunts, I still keep pretty busy outside of my traditional world. Hell, I've even done gas line projects for some companies. We did a kitchen cabinet project with a company. So it's kind of all over the area. And, photos are photos, videos are videos, marketing is marketing. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the techniques and strategies applies to different industries. And I've never wanted to kind of pigeonhole myself to one category because, like, what if it goes away? You know what I mean? And again, I think keeping yourself versed in other industries, there's a lot of things that play over,
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the things that are being done in the hunting industry, the automotive industry was doing 2 years ago.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So that's what a lot of that kind of stuff it is. But, and I know tomorrow I've got some drone video work to do with a realtor that's, got a land project going on, and he needs some drone flyovers for the auction, land auction coming up. So, yeah, I mean, the Johnny Utah Creative kind of fills in the gaps. I mean, I'm not a millionaire, and I'm by no means killing it in any one business, but you put all three together, and it's ramen noodles with hot sauce, baby.
Yeah.
There you go. I like it.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. And you just work more hours.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
I love that. I think it's a cool thing.
I don't know. Can you consider it working more hours when you do gigs like you had last weekend?
Man, that was like working more weeks. Yeah. But they're fun. They're all so fun in their own way. But yeah, that last gig between those three projects, that was like a 13-day run. And man, like no exaggeration, I went to bed face first, just like, you know what I mean? Just fell over in bed. I was out. But I was like, okay, Control Alt Delete. We got to reboot the system. And I was just exhausted. The other problem about being on the road like that is when you get home, now I've got 3 projects to photo edit, to video edit, and you're just trying to dig yourself out of a hole, and you're looking at your clock and you're like, damn, I got to be on the road again for the next project. So
yeah, and that's where the real time comes in.
It does. A lot of people, what they see is, oh man, John's out there living the dream. Yeah, at times I am, but they don't see me sitting in the office till 2:00 in the morning every night.
Right.
In between, the behind the scenes work. So because it's social media, I can't show anybody that side. I got to show them all the cool shit. Right.
Right.
No one wants to see the boring stuff, the production work, the red eyes staring at a computer screen.
Right. Exactly.
They miss that part, especially when they go up, when a lot of people say, oh, it must be nice.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah. You got lucky and you're having so much fun. And I'm like, no, like there are parts that are fun, but I earned this shit. Like it's hard work. And, or the people that say, well, I can do what you do. Hell yeah. Yeah. Give her, you know what I mean?
Quit your job and try and do what I do, right? Give up everything, start from scratch and try and bubble into what I'm doing. Good luck. I wish you the best of luck, but anybody can do it. You're right.
Anybody. Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep.
I dare you. I dare you.
And I've told the story before. I mean, I went down to $7. I laid it all out there on the line, and I went down to $7 in my checking account and had no money coming in. It wasn't like anybody owed me money. I had $7 and didn't know where my next dollar was coming from. And the phone rang, and it's just kept ringing ever since. So, yeah, I mean, it got scary, but I mean, that's, to me, you know, that's jumping without a safety net.
Mm-hmm.
When you're pot committed like that, there's no like, hey, mom, help me out here. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
None of this like half in, half out. I was like, it's sink or swim time, man. Now, bless my wife for like, I don't know if she quite knew she was marrying a gambler. But yeah, man, I always say, if you bet on yourself, you can never lose, but you have to be committed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't just fake it. You know, and that, you know, you've heard that phrase, fake it till you make it.
Right.
No, put your balls on the chopping block. There is no fake it till you make it, you know?
Yeah. You make it or you don't.
Exactly.
It's crazy because I had like a life mentor, and one day we were drinking bourbon one day at a friend of mine's wedding, and he goes to me and he goes, Trev, he goes, you know, it's kind of funny is, you know, when you were growing up, you grew up on mac and cheese and hot dogs, right? She goes, wouldn't you like to be eating Flamin' Young sometimes? It's not that bad, right? So just put it all on the line, try and make Flamin' Young. What's the worst thing that happens? You go back to eating hot dogs and macaroni and cheese?
Yep.
It's not that bad. I go,
Yep.
Fuck it. So every time things go wrong, I go, what is it? Hot dogs and mac and cheese? Big deal. It'll be all right.
Yep. That's what I told a buddy the other day. I said, look, man, I've been a rich man. I've been a poor man in my lifetime, a couple of different times over. Ramen noodles ain't that bad. And I'll go back to it tomorrow. I don't care.
Yep.
Because you live it and you have a good time, man. And that's all that matters, man. And I honestly, you know, I throw it out there, man. I challenge everybody to try and go above and beyond, man, and be the leader instead of being a follower, and just try something new. And it might work, man. Chase those dreams. I mean, it's so important to try and do it. And it's so cool to watch you do that, man. It over the time of me knowing you, man. And you've definitely conquered and moved mountains, bro.
Man, honestly. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's been one of those journeys that it's hard to convince somebody of this, but I was getting a little too comfortable at where I was at, and I wasn't a grinder anymore. And man, when I got flushed out, then it forced me to get back that hustle, get back that drive, get back that creativity. And I'm actually glad it did, because I feel like I came out on the other side stronger and more diversified, you know?
And honestly, dude, like, you're one of those guys that, like, I could honestly say you're probably the number one person that works the hardest in the industry. In my eyes, honestly, dude. There is nobody awesome. That grinds more and works harder and just goes at it more than you, bro. Like, you're everywhere, no matter what. You're always out there. You're always taking pictures. It's always constantly something on social media, man. There's nobody, honestly, in my eyes, that works harder in this industry than you, honestly.
I appreciate that. And the struggle sometimes is, and not that it's not that I worry about it too much, but I don't care what anybody says. The social media game is a popularity game. You know what I mean? And I just put the information out there as it is. I don't try to be anything that I'm not. I just hustle and keep cranking out content. And I'm like, at what point do I get to become a Kardashian? Just for a little while. You know what I mean? Like
you're in good shape, but you're missing a few things.
Well, and I'm just like, you know, if I really do think that I don't want people to think of me any differently, other than I do want people to know me as a hard worker. You know what I mean? Yep. And if people genuinely knew that, I think that the needle would move a little faster in the way that I'm trying to do things. And I've got a lot of other goals that I want to accomplish, but I need things to fall in line, you know what I mean, to get there, right? So I'm just like, we're just grinding. It's kind of like when you're saving up, you know, for a new car, I'm like, I'm saving, but man, I'd really like to buy that sumbitch tomorrow. But
Right.
but no, it's just keep doing it at my own pace. And, if it catches on, if it resonates with people, then so be it,
Is that kind of where like the work more hours thing came from?
100%. Yeah. I did a short film, back in 2016. I released a short film, and Sitka actually is the company that used the short film initially on social media. And then since then I've thrown it up on my YouTube channel, but it tells a story about how I have gone about my hunting hobby and obsessions. But I asked my dad when I was a kid, "Hey Dad, how do you make more money?" And he's like, "Work more hours." There's no get rich quick schemes. And I didn't understand it at the time. And I explained it in a short film, but I know what he meant by it. It's work more in your passion, your hobbies, your relationships, your faith, whatever it is. Put in the time, and one, you'll know that you truly earned it. But also you'll learn a lot about yourself along the way. Just phase everything out in life. The popularity, the haters, whatever the bullshit is. Just make sure that you're working for you and for a genuine goal. And everything will sort itself out. So I've applied that mindset my whole life. And then, recently losing my father back in December, that was really, really tough on me, because my dad, my mom's who gave me my compassion, and my dad's the one who gave me my drive and my work ethic. And so I have to keep grinding the rest of my life, because if I don't, I feel like I let him down. You know what I mean? So I was his biggest fan, and he was probably my biggest fan. And so that's just the deal. Work more hours, and I get people that are like, "What do you mean? You're supposed to work smarter, not harder." I'm like, you're totally missing the point.
Yep.
It's not work more 9 to 5. It is, in general, the word work means put in the effort, put in the time, put in the drive, put in the creativity into all those facets of your life, into your work more hours in your happiness. And if going to Starbucks is what makes you happy, then drink the shit out of some lattes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just work more hours, work more in yourself.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's just like in the military.
Yeah.
You put in work,
Yep.
When everyone 3 o'clock in the morning, they're going, "What the hell are you doing?" You said, "I'm gonna go do work."
Yeah. Yep.
And it's just kind of one of those standard things. Is I got free time, I could be sitting here drinking and bullshitting and playing games, or I can go do work.
Yeah. And that's what it's funny, every time right before we would go kick in a door somewhere, the team would get together. We'd have our ops plan that we'd go through frontwards, backwards, have all of our exit routes, hospitals, emergency routes. And then I'm like, "All right, boys, y'all ready to go do work?"
That's right.
Yeah. So
That's all you do.
yeah, that's it.
It's awesome, man. Well, man, I do have one last question before we wind this thing down, and that is, what drives you outdoors?
What drives me outdoors? Myself. Yeah, myself is what drives me outdoors. It's not social media. All the bullshit could go away. The show could go away. I realized when I was a cop how much the outdoors balanced me out, and I was missing that. And it created a huge appreciation for the outdoors. So what drives me outdoors is me, is connecting with the outdoors, trying to make improvements to the land if I can, to conservation if I can. But I think people have they forget there's some caveman barbaric DNA in all of us, that we've gotten too comfortable with technology and computers. And I think it's good for the soul, and it's good for the human spirit, if nothing else, to spend time outdoors and remember how small we actually really are. We're just a friggin' piece of molecule speck, on the earth. So that's what drives me outdoors.
Outstanding. Beautiful. And to your point, God gave us eyes up front and canines. Let's use them.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
like, if you're going to be a predator, be a predator.
I have a vegan daughter that I tell that to daily. I was like, I'm sure glad you got those canines for splitting those peas.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh,
Well,
poor
real
girl.
quick, before we let you go and get back to the real life,
Yes,
tell
sir.
everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, man. The hottest spot for me, I guess, to find me the most consistently is going to be like on Instagram, johnny.utah.hunt. There is a Facebook page that corresponds to that, and that's the Johnny Utah Hunt Official. Bourbon Barrel Calls, Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to watch some cool hunting stuff and some fishing stuff, be sure to check out Arrow Wild TV on YouTube or Carbon TV.
Outstanding. Well, everybody get over there and check them out and use them as an example. I mean, it's a perfect situation. Go work more hours.
That's it.
That's all I can say.
Do work.
So until then, we want to thank you guys for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.